Hey everyone, welcome to the studio. Now today we just got something a little informal. We're just going to chat, mainly because I was wondering if anybody else experiences this the way that I do. Recently I've got out some projects that I've had boxed up and put away for a while, namely the Jango Fett costume that I've been working on. We've got stuff all over the desk. I've got knee pieces there, groin pieces, all that kind of stuff. All kinds of strapping and stuff because I'm trying to get to the nitty-gritty of it. But it made me think, it's been about maybe 3-4 years since I was working on this project, and a lot of you do ask about this one in particular, but I've got other projects as well that I've had for a while. And how to phrase it? I was just wondering if people do this as well, where they sometimes lose interest in things for a while, especially when it comes to projects. We are all multifaceted people. I like a lot of different things. We all do, especially in like pop culture, right? Because we get lots of different movies, TV shows, video games, with tons of different stuff from those franchises that as cosplayers, makers, and everything like that, we like to delve into and build stuff. We like to explore that fandom through making props and items and collecting things. You may collect figures or Funko Pops, but or any kind of thing to do with that. But with it, I know for myself, my interest tends to wax and wane. And there's cool things that I like as a person to do with different pop culture franchises. I love Star Wars. I like Harry Potter. I like Lord of the Rings. I like Pokemon. But these things do tend to wax and wane, and I sometimes start projects and they don't necessarily come to fruition. And I think I don't see many people talk about that because we tend to talk about things like burnout, stuff like that, where you just get completely done. And especially with the age of social media, where we're making stuff to post, where I'm making YouTube videos, we make Instagram content, that kind of stuff. You can burn out and just run out of all interest and energy in stuff. And that's definitely happened to me in the last few years. Well, I started the channel, it started off as just like a little idea, and then it grew and grew. There was 1 year where I made a video every week when I was trying to get on that algorithm. Yeah, I would say right now what I'm experiencing isn't really burnout. It's just that when it comes to different projects, sometimes you just lose interest and lose momentum, and that can be really difficult. And I just wanted to talk about it because I have finally picked up my Jango Fett costume once again. I recently went to a Comic-Con and saw people in my group, saw lots of people cosplaying, as you do. People were having fun, and yeah, in that moment I wasn't in costume. I'd just gone for the atmosphere to look around with my partner, was buying Pokemon cards, all that kind of stuff. But it really made me want to cosplay again, seeing everybody in costume. So I decided to dig out some costumes that I had been working on. I was like, right, let me dig out Jango Fett because I had got quite a good way with it, but the rest of the costume that I needed to do was all the nitty-gritty stuff, all the strapping and measuring and putting on things to get it all put together, which is all the busy work, which is, I think, understandable as to why you might drop off a project if what you've got left are the things that aren't so fun. Let me know down below if you feel the same way, and it's definitely a thing of, yeah, you can tend to lose interest in things if it goes on too long. And like I was saying, I know my interest in different things tends to move in cycles. I'll often have something at the very front, which is my current like obsession, which I'm really like into, whether that be like a movie or a show or a game. And yeah, often I tend to start projects based on that current level of interest, where I'm like, most recently, I'm not saying I've dropped off, but most recently, Assassin's Creed, I decided to make some samurai armor. That is still ongoing, but also I've popped that to the side right now to work on Jango Fett to get that finished. So it can be a very dangerous, slippery slope to put things away. They might stay away for a few years, but yeah, I just really wanted to come to terms with that and like go, that's okay for things to be paused for a while. But then also it's good to go back to stuff and actually complete projects that you want to get completed. Um, yeah, I am excited about finishing this one now because Star Wars. I watched Andor recently, season 2. That was fantastic. That also inspired me to get the Star Wars stuff back out again. But yeah, already I can feel myself not losing interest, but your interest and focus of attention tends to move around and move to the next thing. And I'm trying to be very self-conscious of, like, say, for example, buying more things before completing the things that I have already. Because, hey, I've got a lot of things that are just partly done that are really, really quite cool, and things that I saved up for even. So, like, I've got all my Jango Fett parts. I've got my armor metal for my armor and stuff like that I'm doing. I bought a load of fabric. That wasn't cheap either to do that. I've got a metal Blade Runner blaster kit from Tip Top Workshop. That wasn't cheap either, but that I've started, but also, again, haven't touched for quite a while. Again, those kind of things are really nice to have, but the interest and focus has to be there for you to finish the thing that you have. And yeah, sometimes I start costumes and then, yeah, you get, like I said, you lose interest. But one thing I have found also is if I'm going to start a costume, it's always good to start with something like the helmet, because if you then do lose interest by the time you get to the end of that build, then you still have a cool piece. That was kind of the idea with this guy. I've always wanted to do one, and I'd always liked this design, so I did it, and I had a full idea to do a full costume of this. Again, which I still may do in the future. I'm not wearing the spandex, I'm not doing that, but it would be like a post-apocalyptic ranger type of deal. There's a lot of like AI art and other ideas about that kind of thing. That was the idea I had with that. But because I did that and finished it, once I got to the end, I was kind of like, that's enough of that for now. So there it sits, and it sits on the shelf, and they look great. But yeah, maybe the full idea that I had doesn't come to fruition, you know? But yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to be mindful going forward of working on stuff that I already have ongoing and trying to finish stuff, because you do get a sense of satisfaction in the completion, and I love sharing those completed things with you guys. So really just to say, yeah, I am working on stuff, and yeah, let me know down below how you deal with working on projects where you lose interest, or things get bigger or more complicated than you thought. Let me know. I'd love to hear. That was it for this one. It was just a little quick chat about projects, because I've got a lot of projects out. This Jango Fett stuff, you can't see it, but it is everywhere. It is all around. So that was it really. Yeah, like I said, I don't even know what I'll call this video. You'll see whatever I've called it here, but it was just more a chat on yeah, how to deal with like waxing and waning interest in projects. Like I said, this one is coming soon, and I'm determined to finish this time, because I want to wear Jango Fett, and I will wear it later this year. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, and of course I will see you in the next video, and until then, take care. Bye bye. Just to show you what this looks like, if you were interested, we got our samurai armor stuff in here, this lovely fabric which I will make stuff out of, but the Jango Fett stuff is everywhere. We've got like the gauntlets. I've got these which I'm making bigger because your boys have got dench, making that bigger, but this stuff is everywhere. Just pick this up from tailors. We got this, so there are the boots. I've done that. This stuff is just, like I said, everywhere. I need to tidy all this crap up, because how could you? I can't work like this. I have been working like this, but I can't work like this. So best to clear it all up, and then we can work on some more stuff.